Look what we have here. It's a brand new guitar. I say we go find out what it's all about. Quite sticky. Too hard to do. So, back with another review for another affordable guitar. This time it's a Squier Bullet, to be more precise, and I have to preface the whole video by saying that these guitars were my favorite for so many years, and I still love the living fuck out of them. Therefore, I will try my best not to be biased and to give you an objective opinion. And as you will see, I will touch upon both the good and slightly meh parts, but they're not that many and not that severe. That's why I said meh instead of bad things. So, yeah, that being said, I probably had tons of these back in the day, and although I never had the black version, I mostly had the white versions. Actually, I think I also had a black, but I lost count. I mainly had the Olympic white ones, and always SSS. I just got this one with HSS for a completely different reason. I want to transform this guitar into the most magnificent playing Squier that ever existed. And not just Squier, but yeah, I wanted to rival the top guitars out there, and I'll try to probably combine this make it inside the same video as this one, not to have it in two parts, which means we have to kind of get ready with this whole thing and not make it super long. But we'll see. So, I had a bunch of these back in the day, and always they were just amazing, and I never gave a crap about what people said that, they're crappy guitars and whatever. Now, granted, they had many, let's say, decades or eras where indeed some of the older ones were not that great, but in my opinion, and have in mind, I'm considering myself kind of a connoisseur of these guitars, because not only did I sell them in the store, but I always kept a very close eye on the details. Around 2013, 14, they started going from being good, very good guitars to being amazing for the price range, and they kind of kept being that way ever since, with slight adjustments along the way, mainly cosmetic. So back in the day, because now we're starting the review. Back in the day, the first editions were just like this, without any skunk stripe, and then they added the skunk stripe, which was a very nice addition. Also, when they did this, they also added the sort of walnut imitation thing around the truss rod opening right there, which I always I always loved it. I felt like it gave that superior class touch by just slightly painting, carefully painting, because it's done very meticulous. Actually, it might even be wood insertion. I'm not even sure because it's done really well. So they always had this in the newer models. They didn't back in the day, but they had a skunk stripe, which now on some of them started to disappear. Not a biggie, but yeah, I always preferred the skunk stripe right here. So that's one of the modifications. And also, back in the day, you had that not so cool type of tuner that was with a 2 point and that rectangular shape right here. So yeah, now they went finally to normal style tuners that are actually a bit better than the previous ones. And you can see this also on the front right here. Now you have a nut that actually tightens itself. It's not just a washer type of thing that goes in and stays under the wood pressure. So we have these the same. Also, yeah, we have the same 2 point. Not 2 point. Sorry, we have the same two string trees right here, and we also have the new and improved on the newer models. Thin fretboard, which kind of makes this cool appearance where the side inlay actually intersects the fretboard right at its half point. So yeah, thin look of an American style fender for the fretboard, which I really like. What else? Also, the saddles have changed a bit. They kind of went back to the old saddles, which are this mix of the new modern import style saddles and the bent steel saddles. These are kind of in between. They have like a blocky thing here, but it's not just bent anymore. It's actually die cast. So it's kind of a mix. So with this one, they kind of went halfway backwards in terms of aesthetics, not performance or anything. Also with the skunk stripe, they kind of went backwards. They kept the forward look of the walnut. Also, the nut itself is the good type of nut for the Squier series, which is from the newer versions. And also, they went forward with the tuners, like I said, and with the fretboard. Nowadays, this is Laurel, and I can actually see the difference. It's actually very impressive. It's almost like rosewood, and to be honest, it's in terms of color, it's a little bit more uniform, I would say, and a bit lighter, which is a nice thing to have. I always had normal rosewood, apart from the maple ones, of course. So yeah, nice to finally have a Laurel edition. Post the whole endangered species rosewood controversy. So what else? The pickups are just as good as before. They sound amazing, and why I'm saying that is because they're really defined. They have a very good attack, and they just sound very good both on distortion and clean. They don't have any unwanted noise. They don't sound very hissy, very whatever you want to describe in terms of a bad sound. So I always like the cheap Squier pickups, and not only the Squier pickups, but the cheap pickups in general, because they use ceramic magnets, and they have a sort of definition that the Alnica ones kind of lack. And although they're cheap to make, they're just cheap financially. They're not cheap from a quality point of view. I actually prefer them over the Alnica ones, which are more vintage and more expensive and so on. And they do not steal from the tone, like many people say. Well, yeah, because they're more powerful and they trick you because it's a cheaper sound and blah blah blah. I agree to disagree. So yeah, the tuning stability is just as amazing as I remember it. I can fully abuse the fuck out of this whammy bar without anything having happened to it. I can always show you later. What else? Yeah, same cool touch with the Squier logo right here. Yeah, one ply pickguard kind of stayed as a recipe for the Squier bullet at least. And yeah, overall, very good craftsmanship. So the craftsmanship is just as amazing as I remember it. And you can see it's so brand new. I actually still have the foil on the pickguard and on the pickups. So it's really almost out of the box, with the exception of a very small setup that I did, because I can never play things out of the box no matter how good they're set up, because I just have weird personal preferences, and I cannot play without those things. And one of those actually is lowering the middle pickup all the way to its bare minimum, because I always catch it with my pick. And yeah, good. I'm not catching it with something else. But on this model, for some reason, and I'm actually very curious what happens here once I take everything down. On this model specifically, something has changed, because I was always able to lower the middle pickup at its minimum, which, for example, is something that you cannot do with, let's say, American Fenders. Mexican Fenders, I was also always able to do it. With the Americans, the routing is slightly different, plus they don't use springs, they use those rubber squishy gaskets, or whatever you want to call them, to give a little bit of a more vintage organic tension to the pickup, which kind of prevents the whole thing from going fully down, because it kind of stops and doesn't have any more give, and also the wood prevents it from going lower, and you actually end up with the screws coming out if you insist past that point, which happens also on this one, and I have no idea why. Although, again, I have my suspicion. I think the routing is a bit higher on these latest models than what I was used to before. But anyway, it doesn't matter too much, because pretty much any normal guitar player out there, I think, won't have this problem. I consider myself to be a very special case for having this problem. I just happened to pick exactly over the pickup, and I guess I have a certain pick depth going past the strings that makes me touch the middle pickup. And although, again, this doesn't bother the normal player, also for me it won't be any sort of a problem in this case, because I'm planning on taking this whole thing down, and I'll be putting an HH, so I'll be having no single in the middle. So I'm not planning on rerouting anything, just because I won't be using this area at all with a new pickguard. So in terms of the electronics and the sound and everything, it's super, just as I remember the whole thing. And yeah, with the slight inconvenience that we have with the scan lines probably appearing on video right now, because I started the monitor. I just want to give, like, for example, I don't know. Off timing, but yeah, and for the life of me, I cannot catch any pinch harmonic because, again, this thing right here, which is the middle pickup, interferes exactly with my pick as I'm trying to go for the pinch. So unfortunately, that's a no-no until I manage to solve this problem or just change completely the pick guard. But again, shouldn't be a problem for you. I guess I just have a weird-ass big hand that just goes into this area where you would normally be just in between the bridge and the middle pickup. I don't know. I'm just weird. But I guess that's no novelty. And yeah, just let me try. Special shout out to our fellow YouTuber, Volbayless Music. Yeah, I just want to try the main riff and that's it. Messed it a little bit, but doesn't matter. And one thing that I like to do with this song, instead of just playing the normal chords, which are the D and E and C, I like to add that extra fourth going down from the tonic from the root, which gives it a little bit more of a bass. In the absence of a bass. So I just like this slightly more dark and distorted drop tune sound to it. I covered this technique in one of my previous lessons, but yeah, so instead of I go for with the occasional overslide since I'm not fully warmed up. But doesn't matter. You kind of got the idea, and yeah, it's just a cool, amazing guitar. Let's see what else can we do here if there's any use for. Yeah, so I really like it. So yeah, yeah. Main parts are, it's an amazing guitar, not just for the money. It's an amazing guitar. Period. I would actually advise people who always have the tendency to say, "Well, it's a great guitar for the money." Well, it's not for the money. It's a great guitar for the targeted market, which is probably not the most professional and pretentious guitar player out there, obviously. Because in all fairness, it's perfectly playable and whatever, with the, let's say, quote-unquote inconvenience of being slightly rough. You know that saying with, that goes along the way of rough diamond, rough around the edges. Well, it's exactly the same thing. So, for example, if I carefully feel things around here, I see some metal. I would, I would, I wouldn't even know how to call them. It's like small flakes that slightly scratch against the skin. Fret ends are done perfectly geometrical, but that's a 90-degree angle, so you kind of want to round off the edges a bit if you want to give it that super comfortable professional feel. Although again, that's just purest nonsense. Yeah, it gives far better comfort and overall feel of the instrument, but from a practical point of view, you should never have this problem, because even if you kind of wank the shit out of the neck, you should never do this against the fret ends. So if you have good finger positioning, it means that your thumb is always behind. You're not playing like this all the time to rake your thumb crazy, and you're also not grabbing the thing from downstairs like this. So I'm saying the obvious, but thumb behind the neck, and when you come here, you have a lot of space. You can see right there, you have a lot of air gap. So you would never come in contact with that, except for scenarios where you want to bend, so you put your thumb over the neck, but when you're bending, you're doing this, so your thumb is stationary, so you never do this crazy stuff. Anyway, you can always touch it up and polish the fuck out of them, and also give it a little bit of a fret dress. Granted, my previous Squiers were almost perfect, even close to 100% when it came to the fret level out of the factory. This one is not bad, but it's slightly less perfect than the other ones. Let's say this one has 90%, 90 to 95% coverage. There's a little bit of bad spots here and there that really kind of choke some of the things, some of the notes that I'm trying to play, but nothing that a very slight fret level won't solve, which is what I'm going to do when I'm going to transform this beauty into a beast of a beauty. So yeah, what else? Well, I guess nothing except for the verdict, which is absolutely amazing for beginner guitar players, intermediate guitar players, even experienced guitar players on a budget who want to have a good guitar for live playing, where no matter what you think, the tone and the whole thing doesn't matter that much at super loud volumes, especially when you start adding the gain. And yeah, if you don't want to cry for a $2,000 guitar that's being stolen or damaged on stage, this is a perfect workhorse. Again, if you want to make it really sweet, you can invest just a little bit more time and probably money, like $50 to $100, and you can optimize the fuck out of this whole thing. But it is already great straight out of the box. Especially if you're a beginner or intermediate, you should never complain. This is the perfect learning instrument that doesn't require almost any attention for years to come, unless you want to, again, make it perfect. And at that point, with that small investment, you already kind of triple or quadruple or whatever its value. Not necessarily financial value, because if you take like an affordable guitar like this and you make it play amazing, just like a Fender or whatever, it will never mean that now it values just as much as a Fender financially. But you know what I'm saying. From a playing point of view, you can just put it up there. The more you put in, the more you put out, basically. So since we still have a little bit of time, I guess I will make the transition right here into the next video segment, which at this point I still haven't filmed, so I'm curious how this will look in the final mix that you'll see. But yeah, at this point it's all things in my imagination and how I would want them to turn up. So in the next few seconds you will see exactly the things that I'll accomplish probably months from now, from this point where I'm filming right now. So yeah, let's see what I come up with within a few weeks or months or years, depending on the time that I have. So 3, 2, oh fuck it.
I just love it when I make accurate predictions.
So when I said we'll probably see where the Squier goes in a few months, if not years, I was bang on. That last bit that you've seen was filmed in January 2021. Not only is it 2022, but instead of being January, it's actually August. So that's like 1 year, 7 months, so 19 months away. And in case you're waiting for an update, actually nothing has happened or will happen for that matter with that guitar, because I'll have a more revealing announcement just up next, probably next video or something like this, in which you'll understand why I haven't been doing anything to that Squier, and why this video basically, this review video gets kind of like an anticlimactic resolution, not what you expected, and also not what you expect in terms of quality, like, filming on this dark, creepy, bedroom vibe late at night. But yeah, I thought it's appropriate for just a stupid ending like this one. Stay tuned for, like I said, for the next video or next few videos, whatever. But I hope is gonna be the very next one, where you will see what I've been blabbering about for the past 2 minutes. So yeah, the Squier basically just ended up in pretty much the same situation, just with some modification. For now, I'm keeping the neck isolated. The body will actually have a different neck, and yeah, you'll see what happens next. But for now, I would like to... Okay, bye-bye. Very good. Not quite.